So this is my guitar arsenal here, at least my regular 6 strings. And I've gone through so many guitars, dozens, maybe even 100 guitars. All so that I could get down to these ingredients. What do I need? I need an 80s type of metal humbucking guitar. I don't need those single coils up top, but it's nice to have them. I need something to shred on, even though I don't shred much, but occasionally I want to. All right, I need a classic Strat with just those 3 single coil sounds and the in-between settings. You know how a Strat works. And I need a Telecaster, a regular straight up Tele. Then I need to have that Gibson sound, and sometimes it's with a humbucker, but this one, I'm going with the P90. I've been sticking with that, this Les Paul Jr. And then I need to be able to play jangle rock, and that means Beatles, Tom Petty kind of stuff, you know, the Pretenders. I gotta have me a Rickenbacker single coil with the old toaster pickups. And I've been through so many iterations, is that the word, of Rickenbackers, Les Pauls, Tellies, Strats, and, you know, shreddy Floyd Rosey guitars. And it came down to this, but it also came down to, I gotta have the 3 primary colors, which then if you mix them all, you get brown. And then I gotta have something that's black and white like Tuxedo. I gotta have that in my studio in order for me to relax. Is that OCD? Maybe. I'm an art teacher, and so to me, this is like a palette. Yeah, that's what it is. This is basically all I need is these 3 primary colors, some brown tones, and black and white, and I can paint anything. Wow, that's pretty deep. But the problem I was having was this vintage brand Strat copy is, while it sounds amazing, it doesn't play amazing, and it's got problems because it's a cheap guitar. It's a knockoff. So I've been hunting for a real Strat, but it has to be this color, and it's not just cherry red. This is Fiesta Red. And Fiesta Red, also sometimes called Dakota Red, although I think they're different. That's what I gotta have, okay? Cherry red bothers me, burgundy bothers me. Again, I might have OCD. I should see a doctor about this stuff. But I have this craving for Fiesta Red. So that's why I've been putting up with this vintage style guitar, this vintage brand, instead of like a custom shop Fender Strats. Basically, Fender doesn't make a lot of Fiesta Reds or Dakota Red colors. And if they do, they're really expensive. So when I found this Fender American Professional Classic Stratocaster in Dakota Red, I thought to myself, this is it. Why? Because it was affordable. I found it was being sold for $1,100. Other folks were trying to sell it for, I don't know, $1,450, or some people $13, and I saw it for $11. And, you know, it was a B stock otherwise, and I can't find a flaw on it. So to me, it's brand new. And the color was not exactly Fiesta Red. It's Dakota Red. And what does that mean? All right, well, here's my vintage brand guitar in Fiesta Red, and this is Dakota Red. And as an art teacher, I'm going to tell you that this has got more yellow in the red. So this is more fire engine, right? More yellowy, orangey, so an orangey red. While this is more of a red, but it's sort of washed out with some white. So it's not a cherry red, Dakota Red, okay? So this is, I don't know, warmer. This is a little cooler. This is lighter, this is a little darker, even though this is called a faded Dakota Red. All right. So they're about the same weight. I don't know, 7.7 pounds is what this Dakota Red Fender guitar is. This vintage neck is thicker. Okay, you didn't come here to see the vintage guitar. You came here to see this. All right, this has got a modern C neck. So that's what makes this guitar unique. Young players, I think, like super skinny necks, all right? Or you know, medium to small adults. But I picked this for the color, and I was hoping for something like a professional Strat in this color without having to pay for a custom shop. Also, I really love the rosewood neck, and it looks great to me. And it's deep dark, and it has a little bit of shine to it. Looks like it's been hydrated. I love the mint green pickguard and pickup covers and knobs. Okay. First thing I noticed when I took this out of the box, besides how thin the neck is that I was expecting to see cool patterns of grains in the back, and I didn't really get that with this guy, which makes me wonder if they're cutting costs or they save the better looking necks for the professionals in the custom shops. So that makes sense. You know, that was a bit of a bummer. I was hoping to see some beautiful grains and maybe some knots going on. I love that stuff. These vintage tuners, normally I don't like these, but these feel great. All right, they just, man, they feel great. They don't slip or slide or anything. So that's a real plus in my mind. And I'm going to plug this in and let you hear for a minute. I'll tell you what I don't like about this straight up. What I don't like is the bridge and saddles and the block. I didn't open this up, but hear this? Let me see if you can hear this. No, you won't hear it that way. How about with this? Okay, there's a teeny sound that I get. There it is, there it is. There's a tinny sound, a thin tin sound that contributes to the overall tone of this, which I do not hear with this Wilkinson bridge and saddles. Deeper. It's heavier metal. It looks to me like heavier metal. It's more solid. So, you might tell me in the comment section, I don't know what I'm talking about, but that doesn't look to me like the same kind of bridge and saddle that comes with a Professional 2 or a standard Strat from back in the day. It just doesn't, okay? It's called the Vintage Style Synchronized Tremolo 6 Saddle. Vintage style, what does that mean? Does that mean they can cut corners and use cheaper alloys, cheaper metals? Right? Anyway, that's what I don't like about this. And there's some other things I'm going to show you when I plug in. All right, so I've plugged this thing into a Fender 65. And no effects or anything, just going straight in. I'll let you know when I step on the clone for a little bit of overdrive. But right now, we're just going, everything's up to 10, and we're at the neck pickup. And where I'm just going to play some Stratty stuff. Okay, a little surfy something. pickup, and now I'm gonna put a little bit of the clone going on here. I think it's the Behringer. No, it's the Warm Audio Centavo. Middle pickup. Position 2. Starting to like this guitar more now than I did before I started recording. Chorus and some delay and some 80s. Am I in the right key? I don't know. They wanna have fun. Oh, girls just wanna have. That's all I really want. Some fun. Woo! Yeah, I just want to have some fun with a good Strat. Okay, bridge pickup. Back to neck. So that's the sound in the room coming out of my Fender Princeton. I think I'll let you hear all the settings here. And I don't know what you guys think. I'll tell you, I think the neck is fantastic. I think it lacks sustain. And you can listen to my Logic sessions where I A-B it against this cheap $400 made in China, sold in England, vintage Strat knockoff. It's called a vintage V6 Icon. And I bought it for the color, I'm not gonna lie, but I put in custom Fat 60 Fender pickups The whole pickup, whatever you call this, with the guard, the whole thing was fully loaded. And it came, I liked it how it came with these cream colored covers and knobs. But man, these are my favorite pickups I've ever heard. Heck, I'm gonna play this a little bit just so you get an A-B. And then in the Logic session, you're gonna hear these two together.